Have you ever wondered why you keep falling for the same type of person? They look different, speak differently, but somehow the ending feels eerily familiar. The same rush of excitement, the same slow unraveling, and eventually, the same pain. You begin to ask yourself, is it just bad luck? Am I choosing the wrong people? Or is there something inside me that keeps pulling me toward this pattern? The truth is, we don't fall in love with people as they are. We fall in love with what they awaken within us, with the pieces of ourselves we don't fully understand. Carl Jung believed that within every man lives an unconscious image of woman, the anima, and within every woman, an unconscious image of man, the animus. These aren't romantic ideals. They're archetypes, hidden energies that shape how we see, feel, and connect. And when we're unaware of them, they don't disappear. They take the lead, they project themselves onto others, quietly and visibly, until we mistake them for love. But if we learn to see these inner forces clearly, we stop chasing illusions and start relating to people for who they truly are. So before we talk about them, let's first understand what lives inside you, because what you keep falling for might not be a person. It might be a part of your own soul, asking to be seen. Love doesn't begin when you meet someone else. It begins when something inside you responds. Carl Jung believed that within every man is a hidden image of woman, a symbol of his inner emotional world. He called her the anima, and within every woman there is a hidden image of man, a reflection of her inner structure and strength. He called him the animus. These inner figures are not personalities. They are not tied to gender roles or social behavior. They are psychic energies, unconscious blueprints of the other that live inside each of us. The anima is the soul of feeling. She speaks not in logic, but in symbols. She appears in dreams, in fantasies, in the sudden softness that surprises a hardened man. She is the breath behind his art, his longing, his vulnerability, even when he doesn't know why he's drawn to it. The animus is the voice of inner structure. He speaks in thought, in ideals and direction. He shows up in a woman's convictions, in the clarity of her no, in the fire behind her questions. Even when the world asks her to soften, her animus asks her to stand. These energies are not chosen. They are inherited. We absorb them from parents, stories, religion, media, layer by layer, year after year. They form silently, and because they are unconscious, they operate in disguise. This is where projection begins. A man meets a woman and feels a pull he can't explain. She's not just beautiful, she seems almost faded. But often he's not seeing her. He's seeing the anima he never met within himself, and mistaking her for the real woman standing before him. The same happens in reverse. A woman may fall for a man who carries a kind of power, a certainty she admires, but beneath the surface he mirrors a part of her animus, the strength she's never owned but always sought. None of this makes the feelings fake. It makes them powerful and potentially misleading. To love wisely, we must recognize what is ours and what is theirs. And to do that, we must meet the voices within us we've been projecting outward all along. Most people think heartbreak comes from loving the wrong person, but often it comes from loving the wrong image, one we created ourselves. When we haven't met our inner anima or animus, we don't stop looking for them. We look for them out there, in strangers and lovers and impossible ideals. A man might be drawn to a woman not because of who she is, but because she carries the mystery, softness, or creative fire of his inner anima, the part of him he hasn't yet welcomed. She becomes a mirror, not of herself, but of the feminine within him that he doesn't know how to hold. A woman might find herself magnetically pulled toward men who are distant, powerful, emotionally unavailable, not because it's healthy, but because her inner animus associates love with challenge, silence, or conquest. She may keep chasing what actually reflects a power she hasn't claimed as her own. This is projection, and projection is not just a psychological term, it's a pattern of perception. We think we're in love with someone unique, but more often we're in love with a symbol, an echo of our unmet needs, unspoken dreams, or forgotten selves. And here's the danger. We fall in love quickly, but we don't see clearly. So we create expectations, assign roles, demand fulfillment, not from the person, but from the part of us they accidentally represent. When they fail to live up to the fantasy, which they inevitably will, we feel betrayed, abandoned, or disappointed. But the truth is, they never promised to be what we projected. It wasn't love that failed. It was the illusion that cracked. So who are you really in love with? The person in front of you, or the reflection of something buried inside you? Recognizing this doesn't kill love. It purifies it, because only when you see the difference can you begin the deeper work to love someone not as a substitute for your missing half, but as a whole person, while standing as a whole self. And that deeper work, it doesn't begin with them, it begins with you. But what does it actually mean to begin with yourself? What does that look like? Beyond theory, beyond insight. It begins not with fixing what's broken, but with turning inward to meet the voices, images, and energies you've been unknowingly projecting onto others. For the man, it means sitting with feelings he was taught to avoid: grief, tenderness, uncertainty, longing. It means recognizing that vulnerability is not weakness, and that sensitivity, far from being shameful, is a gateway to depth, to art, to intimacy. It means realizing that the beauty, mystery, or compassion he seeks in a woman might actually be the reflection of his own anima, waiting to be acknowledged, not outsourced. For the woman, it means confronting the power she's been told to suppress, the inner clarity, the assertiveness, the drive to act and lead. It means reclaiming her right to take up space, not by imitating men, but by honoring the animus that already lives within her. The voice that says, I know I choose, I will. This is not about balance. It's not about becoming half man, half woman. It's about integration, about becoming whole, conscious, and internally resourced. Because when you don't meet these energies inside yourself, you search for them in others. And when you depend on someone else to carry what you refuse to own, you will always feel incomplete, and they will always feel pressured. Integration dissolves the illusion that anyone outside you is responsible for your fulfillment. It breaks the pattern of emotional dependency and disappointment. You stop falling for intensity and start seeking truth. You stop needing to be saved and become someone capable of offering real love. The anima and animus, once acknowledged, become guides, not ghosts you chase in others, but companions that help you recognize. This moment is mine. These feelings are mine. This choice is mine. You no longer confuse projection with destiny, And in doing so, you finally meet others not to complete you, but to walk beside you. Because in the end, the deepest connection you'll ever have is the one between you and the parts of yourself you were once afraid to love. Maybe the reason love feels so hard is because we've been looking in the wrong direction. We keep reaching outward, longing, searching, hoping, not realizing that the one we've been waiting for might actually be a forgotten part of ourselves. A woman you admired, a man you chased, a connection you thought was meant to be, only to find out it wasn't about them at all. It was about something inside you asking to be seen. We call it chemistry, fate, obsession, but sometimes it's just projection, dressed beautifully, feeling deeply, but still not quite true. So what if you stop searching for the one? What if you stopped trying to be someone worth loving and instead became someone capable of loving without needing to disappear? What would it feel like to stand in front of someone and see them, not as your savior, not as your mirror, but as they are? What would it feel like to be chosen, not because someone needs you, but because they see you? That kind of love doesn't start in romance. It starts in silence, in courage, in the quiet decision to stop running from yourself. And when you meet someone again, as a whole soul meeting another, not a half searching for its match, you'll know the difference. It won't be as loud. It won't be as urgent, but it will be real, and it will last. Because for the first time, you didn't fall into someone. You stood beside them,